Welcome back. I'm Mr. Rankin. We're going to go through Chapter 5, and we're going to go very quickly to keep this video to 5 minutes or less. Let's get right into learning objectives, explain why nations trade. They trade like people trade, for mutual benefit. If each side doesn't think they're gaining, they won't trade. There's also a specific resource view that says you trade because a firm has exports that are valuable, unique, to customers in foreign countries, and also an institutional view that says sometimes countries or institutions put in rules that either promote or not promote trade. 6 theories of international trade. The first 3 are called the classical, the last 3 are called the modern. Mercantilism, way back, basically says it's a zero-sum game. You have winners and losers. Then the absolute advantage came along that says, sometimes people are better at things than others, and the ones that are better, you should do the things you're good at and not the things you're not good at. Comparative advantage is kind of the same theory, only it says, well, rather than who has an absolute advantage, because sometimes you have some people that are better at everything, really what's important is how are you comparatively to other people, and the people that have a comparative advantage should do the products, and the ones that shouldn't do those products. Then we got into sort of the modern theories. These are more dynamic because they change over time. The first one's the product life cycle, which basically says early on in a product, when it's high-tech and new, it'll be made in highly developed countries. As the product matures and gets older and becomes commoditized and the recipe for the product becomes known, it'll then be made in low labor cost countries, normally the less developed. Product life cycle, early in the product life cycle, it's made in highly developed countries. Late in the product's life cycle, it's made in more underdeveloped countries. Strategic trade just simply says sometimes a country France wanted to have their own airlines. So they gave special incentives to give special advantages to Airbus. They basically helped fund Airbus through what's called subsidies. The last one is called the National Competitive Advantage. Now, that looks at 4 factors. First factor is how much is a country endowed with? Are you endowed with rich resources to grow wine or whatever? Do you have related industries around that so that it's easy to get suppliers and stuff? Do you have a high domestic demand so that you can capture the economies of scale? And is the firms that are particularly doing it have a lot of strength in their strategy? So those are the 4 factors: endowment, related industries, domestic demand, and the firm strategy around the national competitive advantage. Now, in international trade, some political realities step in because people tend to want to protect their own industries because those people vote. A tariff is basically a tax. I can put a tariff on Japanese cars if I'm in the U.S., right? So it taxes them. I can put some non-tariff things. I can give subsidies. We're doing that today with the green energy. So the government will give basic money to certain industries. I can put quotas which limit the quantity. I could say, well, rather than taxing Japanese cars, I'll only let you import 10,000. That would be a quota. Or some countries put content rules in. You can sell in my country, but 20% of it has to be made in my country. It forces anybody coming into that country to put a local plant. Some of the arguments, so a lot of the arguments are for free trade. Some of the economic arguments against free trade are simply to protect my domestic industries. I don't want the car industry to go south in the U.S., so I protect it. Also, sometimes I might have some infant industries that are just starting that I want to protect. Political arguments against free trade is, well, I want to have national security. I don't want to have all my weapons made in a foreign country. I might want to protect consumers because it might be a country that's producing it has very weak laws, and it might be foreign policy objectives. I just have an issue with that country, so I don't want to trade with them. That's Chapter 5. Any questions? Let me know. Thanks.